you ever feel like the things that you're doing just doesn't work because, well, the things that you're doing is doesn't work? Like, do you ever blame other people for the things that you're doing? Do you ever blame the thing that because the thing is the thing and the thing doesn't work, so you're saying it's the thing's fault, not your fault? There's a lot of times that when we do that, we actually does not empower us to get better at anything. For example, many times there's many times in my life, like I'm gonna pull this from back in the days, right? Back in the days when I didn't know what taking responsibility means. So if I had a business, for example, I had a hat business for like a few months, I think it's a few months. I definitely didn't last more than like 3 months, right? So I had a hat business. The hat business was literally just called the Cool Hat Store. All we do there is just making sure, you get some cool hats and you sell them. It's an e-commerce store and, basically it's an e-commerce store. I'm going to talk to you about a podcast that I listened to yesterday that it couldn't hit me and couldn't really give me the jolt to like start thinking about different things. It's a podcast from Ed Milet. And a friend sent it to me because, well, we all listen to podcasts. We all share podcasts with each other. And that's just what we do, right? So lesson number one is gotta get some friends that will share podcasts with you, right? But again, Ed Milet says, by the time that I'm 30, by the time I get to my retirement age, which is 65, we're probably not gonna see much of retirement. Grocery prices has been rising like it's, doesn't know how to set, right? Inflation was like 10% for 3 straight years, and now it's at 6. And that just means inflation is decreasing, meaning the rate of the price increasing is slowing down. The price is still increasing. $1 million in 1985 is about 3.5 million today. Like if you put $1 million and let inflation do its thing, it would have been $3.5 million. $1 million spending power needs about $3.5 million today. So I'm over here. Look, I got a pretty good job. Before COVID, if I had this job, I would afford a house. Let me just say that straight up, right? Because of COVID, housing prices raised like about 40%. So a home, I live in the Inland Empire in California. The homes in Riverside, San Bernardino, and places like this, it used to be like 400 for a decent place, right? You get three bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and you get, 1980s, right? It's 400. It's not bad. Interest rate is not too high. Before COVID, interest rate was like what, 4? So monthly payment with everything all put together would be like maybe $3,000, right? That's with like utilities and all that stuff accounted for. But now the same house is gonna be 600, and that is a big jump. $200,000. That is more than most people. 99% of United States population salary, right? You see this car that I'm driving, like it doesn't used to cost this much. Now it's costing me about $500 a month. It didn't cost me this much before, right? So now all of this all put together, and with the spending power, with our money, our dollar, the spending power of a dollar decreasing, and the prices of our goods, our produce, the food that we eat, the things that we need to do to just get to make money, those things are all increasing. That's eventually we're gonna outspend ourselves. It's gonna be the consumer debt that still kicks in the butt. There's a lot of people that still spend a lot of money. We still spend a lot of money because of, different things we gotta attend, and we're at the age where everybody's getting married, everybody having a baby, so we gotta buy these gifts naturally, right? Then again, we gotta budget for all of it. I have to budget for all of it because at the end of the day, I gotta run myself as a business now in order for us to survive, in order for us to thrive, and then for us to eventually build a snowball effect on our savings, on our assets. I gotta budget for all of that. Right now, I'm snowballing on some of the debt that I have that I still need to pay off. Now, to be real, I still have debt that I need to pay off, and that's snowballing that and snowballing the business that I'm building called Mission Human Excellence. So if you want to check that out, I'm gonna start linking it below in every podcast, so you can join the community just from here. And then understanding that gas prices isn't get any cheaper, even if it doesn't matter who's in the office. Like, gas prices are going to be there. And with gas prices increasing, transportation prices increase, and I have a truck next to me. That thing is going to cost more to operate, and you got to pay the truck drivers more to do the things that they do because of inflation, and everything's going to increase, and it keeps increasing and increasing and increasing. At what point are we going to have enough for our retirement? We're not. So there's two ways to go about it. Either you build a business that is profitable, an excellent business, right? That's profitable, that solves people's problems, that really help other people to see like, hey, there's more things that we got to do in order for us to achieve the things that our parents can achieve just by working a day job, right? We got to do more than that now. Like, I have a side hustle. I have a full-time job. I have a side hustle. My wife has a full-time job and a side hustle. We're putting a lot of our business money right now into our business accounts and let that do its thing. But eventually, we're gonna start having to paying ourselves to make a living, right? Yes, the time is difficult, but here's the deal: you gotta understand that you're tougher than the times. Yes, the time is tough, but you're tougher than the times. The times is difficult, but you're way more resilient than any of this, right? So first is build a business, build a side hustle that's really gonna help you. That's really gonna get you to the next place. And I just saw a girl with Starbucks that's like bigger than her face next to me. You don't need to spend like that. You don't need to spend like that. I just spilled my coffee earlier. It's in an aluminum bottle. You don't need to spend $8 for a drink every morning. That is gonna pay for half your groceries, right? Speaking about all that stuff. Anyways, first thing is getting a side hustle. The second thing is get really good at your job. If you have a job right now that you're like just whatever about it, no, right? Get really good at your job. Be irreplaceable at the place that you're working at. Let's be real. Right now, it's pretty much anybody is replaceable, especially with AI coming in and doing the things that it's doing. AI might be a therapist. Next thing, who knows? Everybody is replaceable, right? Be irreplaceable at your job. So there's some things that's not replaceable, right? The jobs that requires human to human connection. Number one, selling is a thing that's not going to be replaced. Yes, a lot of selling has been replaced by things like Shopify, things like Amazon, right? But it's not really replaced. It's just being moved to a different place. Does that make sense? And number two, selling is definitely one thing that's not going to get replaced, right? Number two is be the person that controls programs or develops these AIs. Yes, an AI can develop itself. Yes, AI can write code. AI can help you do some technical stuff, but AIs probably won't be able to develop themselves. Or we need to stop AI from developing themselves because there's no limit to what they can do. If that's basically creating another subset of being that has no emotion and only focuses on tasks. So that means if someone gets a hand on it and the task is blow the world apart, that AI is gonna go out there and blow the world apart. This is why we need developers. We need people to develop AIs, right? Elon is pretty big on this. Is to make sure we have a hand and control on the AIs before the AIs go crazy. And not everybody see it, but I know it. I know his intentions are, so I think that's pretty important. So be irreplaceable. Or the next thing is be so good at your job that they can't replace you because the knowledge that you have, because the things that you have in your head, just be so good and so knowledgeable, so much wisdom at the things that you're doing, and do the things that you're doing at a highest level of excellence. Then when an AI comes in, you're the one that tells the AI what to do. You're the one that directs the footsteps of the AI. So what you're doing there is basically just giving instructions. Instead of managing people, you manage machines. So that's some of the things that's irreplaceable. That's coming off the top of my head. But at the end of the day, we all gotta grow and be excellent, right? Being excellent in all our areas. And the biggest area that the biggest thing we cannot, you know, let AI take control is for sure our spirituality. That is only for humans because God didn't say I made AI in my image. God said I made man in my image. So man can make machines in their image, but that's not God's creation. That's a man creation. So we can't let man creations take over our spirituality, right? So those are some of the things that AI's. What I see AIs can do. I can't by no means claim myself to be an expert in AI, but I know for a fact that AI can't do everything that a human does. So human connection, AIs, yes, they might be good at it right now. It seems like ChatGPT can do some things for therapy, but they're just spewing what has already been said. They just doing the things that's already been told. And if a human being sets a limit on the AI, which right now, apparently I try to get Gemini's Google's AI, right? Yesterday I tried to get Gemini to spit out some Bible verses that can help business growth. And Gemini said they can't do it. So guess what AI I'm not using? Now I gotta find an AI that's not restricted because Christian, because the word Jesus Christ, because of person, right? Anyways, that's a whole different thing. But at the end of the day, like if we want to, if we like absolutely, this is gonna be the thing that we do, right? Be replaced by your job, or number one is start a business that really solves people's problems, or number two, be irreplaceable by your job. Well, because if you want a stable financial future, let's be real, that's it. That's it. I know a friend of mine started a donut shop, but that donut's good. It solves people's problems. I know a friend of mine started a coffee shop. That coffee's good. It solves people's problems. I also know people who are selling insurance. That's a good thing to sell. It solves people's problems. Realtors solve people's problems. Heck, even me, even what we do, right? We can't make money without solving other people's problems. And if what I do is technical sales, right? I'm on a technical sales team. And if we don't solve other people's problems, technical problems, other companies' technical problems, we ain't gonna get sales, right? So we gotta solve problems in the business. Or number two, be so good and irreplaceable at your job. Be so good and be irreplaceable at your job. Just some of the things that pop in my head this morning. I want to share with y'all. Remember, if you want to be the one, just a side note, if you want to be the one in your family, if you want to be the one that changes everything, you got to be the one that changes you first. If you want to be the one that changes your family tree, you got to change you first. Don't try to change your kids. Don't try to change anybody else. Change yourself first before you even attempt. Think about changing anybody else. Because if you want to change anybody else and you don't want to change, you're a hypocrite. You're the loser. And eventually nobody's going to listen to you because nobody likes to listen to somebody that tells other people what to do and they don't do it themselves. All the things that I just said, starting a business or being irreplaceable at your job, it requires change. It requires change on you. It requires change. It requires you to change you. But if you're like telling your family, hey, you got to be irreplaceable at your job. Hey, you got to start a small business that solves problems. What about you? What are you doing? Start with you. Mission Human Excellence starts with me. This is my brand. It starts with me. If I start resembling more and more of excellence, you will be right there behind me. And if you resemble a little more of excellence, your family will be right behind you. If everybody else sees the person who is taking responsibility to be excellent, the next person is going to see it, is going to get inspired, is going to be motivated, and they're going to do the same thing. And that's how the cycle begins, and that's how the mission spreads. So hopefully this little word will gets to your heart, and for you to understand this is personal. This is about personal growth. in your spirituality, relationship with God, in your physical health, your relationship with yourself, relationship with other people, and eventually grow your finances and wealth. So hopefully this has been helpful. I love you guys. Thank y'all for listening, tuning in. And until next time, stay blessed.